News. Hey, has the Global Government News ever done a report about how we're all planning to exterminate everybody and, just have some fun while we're doing it as well and, sacrifice everyone to the dark gods?
I'm sure we have. I don't know if you're referring to like a spoof or satire, but...
Well, that would be interesting. If we actually did a spoof or satire of Global Government News and we were like just sitting there just going, I was thinking about doing something called the Scumbaggery Report. The Scumbaggery News today, etc. Do it in a British accent. Whatnot. It'd be hilarious.
President Obama brought in, professional shoe shiners from all the way across the globe, and they're sitting there while he's eating right now and, shining his shoes as he's on the phone with, David Rothschild, who's keeping up to date on the economic situation. He actually just reported in a serious tone.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like The Onion.
Yeah, The Onion, I didn't know that was satire when I first came across that. So that'll get you if you're not aware of it. Yeah, The Onion's quite clever like that in a lot of ways. And I think that comedy really does it takes people by surprise and it teaches them things when they don't know they're learning anything. Right. Yeah, it's at least it gets people thinking, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Whether it's true or not, I think one of the stories that got me was the Somali pirates were working, for Goldman Sachs. And to me that sounds believable, but most people would be like, "What?" And then I think people that are into the truth movement or just into news, they would probably fall for those types of stories before your typical, whatever you want to call them, sheeple would. Yeah. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but. Well, I don't know where you're going, so keep going. Well, because of the crazy things that they talk about, it's semi-true, It's somewhat true. So, but most people, they would look at it and they'd be like, no way, there's no way that's true. Well, the truth can often be pretty weird. And in most cases, it's much easier to tell somebody a lie because a lie can be packaged. It can be said in certain ways. It can have details missing or added in to make it all believable. Whereas the truth has no such flexibility. It is what it is. And you can't, and there's certain ways of packaging it and what have you and delivering it. But other than that, the truth is still the exact same thing coming into somebody's mind as it is coming out of your mouth. So if you've got your facts right and everything like that, it'll just come down to the point where some people are just saying, oh, well, I'm not going to listen to you. You're just crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. You have no life. You're living in your mother's basement. Go eat another pack of Doritos. You're probably 700 pounds. These people, they don't know you. They've never met you before, only watched one video out of the hundreds that you've done, nigh on 1,000 that you've done, or something like that, and then use that as a cause to judge you. Oh, yeah, that's actually a good point, because that's a good technique that's used. Oh, I've been watching your videos for a long time, but, I've never seen them comment. Their channel has, you go to their channel, 0 subscribers, 0 views, and, they're not a long-time viewer, but that's their in. They always have ins. Why do you need to manufacture an in? Can't you just be in the moment? Well, it's going back to what you were just saying. It's called the truth sandwich. Basically, the truth. There's some truth in the center, but there's usually it's the truth on the outside with the big lie on the inside. So, and that's usually what the media is all about. Like a truth Easter egg.
It's covered in chocolate, but there's nothing but oxygen inside.
It's they get a lot of people with it though. Those most news now, it's really just public relation. Press releases for what is going to happen to you. It's not so much that here's some information, roll it around in your head, and come to a conclusion on your own. No, they're telling you this recent bill. Like I'm looking at right here, Arizona passes sweeping internet censorship bill, legislation to make it illegal to use offensive language online. And, like everything else, the Samsung TV will have built-in HD camera microphones, face and speech recognition. They're telling you this is what's coming. Now, you don't have to have a TV, but, if you want to, live like most people, you're going to be subject to this stuff.
Yeah. It's already everywhere to lesser or greater degrees. And the thing that people have to recognize is that the degrees are going to get a lot hotter, in the heat sense of the word.
Right, the boiling frog theory or concept. Mm-hmm. Just people just sitting there, and if you do it right away, they'll jump out. But if you do it slowly, heat up that water slowly, they'll say, "Ooh, this is kind of nice, almost like a hot tub. Just give me a beer, and I think we'll be fine," And it's funny though, because that's how it is. People they're being entertained, they're being distracted from things that they need to be aware of.
Is America the society that history will record as the ones who boiled themselves to death in their own hot tub?
It could very well be, Vinny. There's a lot of good people in this country still, and I think it's like most countries. I call them corporations too. That's why I like how you mentioned that. People are not being represented. So when people say, "Oh, you damn Americans," I'll see comments like that where usually you can tell they're coming from the Middle East. You damn Americans, down with the infidels, and it's just like, well, dude, we don't have any control over this company anymore. It's been a long time since we had any say. So when bombs are being dropped and killing civilians, it's like I didn't give the green light to do that.
Yeah, I mean, when somebody calls me an infidel, I just say, mate, my infidelities have nothing to do with you.
Yeah, just turn it around, I guess. Make light of it.
Yeah. I mean, look at it this way. There's two responses that you can do. In fact, there's probably many, but these are the two that I normally even have to choose between. When somebody tells a lie about you, all right, number one, you can respond and try and endlessly set the record straight with somebody who knows they're lying, who is making stuff up, and has infinite amounts of stuff that they can continue to make up. Second is to not participate. Best way to win a battle sometime is to not show up, because your enemy will spend all that effort, consume all those resources just getting there to the battlefield. And meanwhile, if you haven't shown up, then he's all there, all prepared for nothing. And you've wasted heaps of his time and none of yours.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy. Nonviolence is usually the way to go. And that's what scares me, Vinny, is as far as the United States goes, there's a lot of people that consider themselves patriots, and they have the militias and, getting armed and doing their training and stuff like that. But what scares me kind of is if the crap does hit the fan, it's going to be from different angles. It's going to be the economy. It's going to be a released bioweapon. Oops, sorry, and bird flu is released. Natural disasters. It's going to be a bunch of different things, and then you're going to have the militias and that trying to restore the republic, as they say, and it's going to be that force again, and people are going to have to make a decision. They're going to be faced with a decision of that do they want to use force, do they want to use violence to achieve whatever ends that they're trying to achieve, or are they going to do it peacefully? Are they going to don't coerce people into doing things. If they don't want to be, if someone's out there in the woods, and the government's kind of, in disarray and stuff like that, and they want to be left alone, well, then for the most part, just leave them alone. You don't have to take them by gunpoint and say, you're going to join this government and you're going to do this.
Yeah. Forcing people to do what you want them to is not a good society of any kind. That's a parental relationship, and you're not supposed to do that with adults. Come on, people. Because adults are supposed to have personal responsibility left, don't they? So we're almost coming up to break. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to start taking calls for the next hour. All topics up for discussion, news, and what have you. 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. And also, if you are listening to the broadcast and perhaps the reception in your area isn't that great, or your internet's kind of a bit wacky at the moment, you can actually call in and listen to the show through your telephone. And your number you call in for that is 704-772-7627. That's 704-772-7627, and then you enter the code 1080. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll see you just after the break. Please call in, and we'll be taking your calls right in just a few minutes. So catch ya.
Airwaves, bandwidth, disinformation, too bad. Check the labels, delete the virus, alert the masses.
Now you and your family and friends can enjoy the cleanest, most delicious, and healthy drinking water anytime, even while traveling, camping, at sporting events, or in emergency situations. The Berkey Light removes bacteria, cysts, parasites, and harmful chemicals to below detectable levels. It also reduces nitrates and unhealthy minerals like lead and mercury, while leaving in the beneficial and nutritional minerals your body needs. Berkey Light is so powerful, it can even purify raw, untreated water from remote lakes and streams. And the optional PF2 filters even remove fluoride. The Berkey Light LED, with its rechargeable lighting system, can be used as a nightlight or camp light. To view or purchase your Berkey water system and replacement filters, please visit American Freedom Radio's website at AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click the Berkey banner. Once again, that's AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click the Berkey water banner. Not yet available in Iowa.
Witnesses, first responders, and others tell the story the NTSB and the FBI hope to cover up. The documentary film, Wellstone, They Killed Him, examines the killer's motives, means, and opportunity. Who was Senator Paul Wellstone, and why would anyone want to kill him? High on the motive list is that the populist Minnesota senator, one of 23 who voted against the Iraq War in 2002, was sticking his nose into 9/11. Wellstone intimates say he was asking too many questions, that he wanted to get to the bottom of what really happened on 9/11, and thus was publicly executed as a warning. Watch the preview at WellstoneTheyKilledHim.com. A portion of the sales goes to fund a public investigation. Order a DVD for just $20. Help support our future projects. We document what the corporate and quote-unquote left media ignore. Chemtrails, weaponized mycoplasma, the IVAW, Bilderbergs, cyanide, and the neo-Malthusian depopulation assault on humanity. Visit snowshoefilms.com or go to AFR's homepage and click the Snowshoe Films banner.
Just look at us. Everything is backwards. Everything is upside down. Doctors destroy health. Lawyers destroy justice. Universities destroy knowledge. Governments destroy freedom. The major media destroys information. And religions destroy spirituality. I think there's more to know here.
All you ever hear about in this country is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the money. Fairly simple thing happens to work. If you know anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything you can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank.
SwissAmerica.com reports gold prices rose above $16.75 an ounce Monday on bargain hunting. Gold last traded at $16.77, silver $33 even. And Mark Faber says massive wealth destruction is about to hit investors as out-of-control government debts trigger uncontrolled money printing. That'll lead to inflation levels that'll decimate portfolios. That's why he says people should own some gold. Oh, here's a shocker. U.S. wages have plummeted so low that a two-income family now on average 15% poorer than a one-income family of 40 years ago, according to Bullion Bears of Canada. That's after